Our next speaker tonight is Jeff Scott. Ensuite, nous avons Jeff Scott with Digital Grammar.
Thanks. Okay, so basically, digital grammar is a bit of a misnomer. I'm not actually talking about grammar, and I don't want to teach you much. Basically, want to ask something out of everyone in the audience. You can speak correctly. You can have stuff in a pretty way. You can do both. But it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter to me as long as you're clear. As long as we have a shared understanding on whatever platform we use. That's what I think is important about language and communication in general, which is something we're all doing all the time anyway. A lot of interesting changes are happening in terms of how we communicate. And we're all doing it. So I'm talking to you, I'm talking at you, but I include myself in that. And you'll see as we go why I'm guilty of everything I'm kind of accusing you of. But at the same time, I don't want to hammer it home. I don't want to beat you over the head with a lesson. I don't think you can do really any better. But I think if you take a bit of time to consider what I'm saying, it's pretty reasonable, and I think we'll all be better off for it. So, talking about a few different platforms here in a few different ways. Talking about the idea of how and why we communicate. Generally, it's to share a message, share a story, and there are different patterns. There's different rules for doing it, but you can have fun with them if you know what they are. You don't need to follow the rules to communicate well. By the same token, we don't always know what the rules are. Sometimes we just have a sense of what's right and wrong. You know that Yoda's not speaking correctly, but you get his message. So, you know what I'm saying. So it's not about writing perfectly. It's about writing clearly. The difference between simple and easy, right? So somebody says, put 2 arrows on the sign. You say, yeah, it's easy. And it is, but it's not very simple. Twitter is 140 characters, which is pretty easy, except it's not very simple. Try and explain it to somebody who just doesn't get it, like maybe your folks, maybe mine, and have fun with that. So you can yell all you want about the rules of grammar, and you can explain the platforms, and you can try and pound it into somebody, and that's not going to help, which is, again, why, with all the finger pointing I'm doing, I don't think that rules are going to help this. I think what you end up seeing a lot of the time is expressions like this, which kind of like, all right, yeah, 140 characters is great, and geotagging is wonderful. But they don't understand, and they're not going to change. So I don't actually want to change anything other than clarity, right? That's what I'm going for. So where are we talking? We're talking to machines, we're talking through machines, we're talking to each other. And more than ever, machines are involved in some step of our communications, whether you're typing out a tweet or a text message or an email or a blog post or anything like that. We're going through machine, and we're doing it all in all at a younger age. Right? So kids today are on computers, and they need to have a sense of how to write for this new, in this new world. But the thing is it's always changing. It's never staying the same. The rules are changing, the platforms are changing, and here's a few, right? But when Twitter started, there was no such thing as hashtags or retweets. We created that, and we made that happen, and we changed the way the system worked. Facebook added @replies that are a new way to indicate to your friends an event or another person. So the platforms themselves are very, very dynamic. So how can you manage how to use these platforms and how to be on them when they're so dynamic? They're changing. So we need to change as well, but we need to evolve in a consistent way. And let's just take a look at some of the ways the platforms are evolving. I'm proud to say that tonight, the proceeds are going to Haiti. Here's a great project that the United States government and some educational institutions are behind, and it's basically providing structure for tweets that allow them to be machine readable. And the advantage of that is that if you have information about a hospital or some kind of emergency services, people can understand it when they read it, but a machine can't parse it, and a machine can't process it or do anything with it and help distribute that. But if you use a few different hashtags in a very specific order, kind of grammar, you can do that. You can also write in a way that isn't necessarily technically correct. Okay, thanks, bye. But if you're going to do that, do it right. Right? So the party is really book means nothing. The party is really cool means something. But if you're a bit too quick, you're going to look like an idiot. So I'm not saying I want anybody here to write like Shakespeare. I tried to find Moliere, but I couldn't. Sorry. I just want people to be clear and to know what they're trying to say. Make sure that you take a second before you hit send and reread it, because sometimes the machine will take over. And that's the whole point. That's all I'm trying to put out there is take a minute, be clear. Look at your message, look at the platform. We're generating so much content individually, whether we realize it or not. We're doing it all the time. And I don't want to be a grammar ostrich. I just think that you don't need to worry about this. If everybody understands the platform, I think we can communicate. But I think you need to take that extra second to reread what you're putting out there to make sure that you're being clear. And That's it for digital grammar. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Jeff.